Matt, there's obviously a lot of public concern about these native title claims, but the Courier Mail were reporting there's 15 towns in Queensland where Indigenous groups are trying to gain freehold ownership of public land. And what stood out to me is that the Queensland government are keeping it secret. They're not revealing to anyone exactly where these places are. Why is the government not being open about this? If they want to allay public fears, surely they should be more transparent about these claims.
Yeah, well, I can't tell why certain people are doing certain things, but I'd go back to what I was saying is that I think there's a hidden agenda here. So it's not surprising that such a group would hide the details if they're also trying to hide their underlying agenda. As I say, I think there's a lot of this is about trying to lock up large parts of our country away from productive investments and developments. I mean, I don't mind the idea of giving more rights to those native title groups that have land. As I said before, what often happens is they get access to land, but they can't use it. They can't mine it, they can't farm it. And there are some, let's face it, mostly white fellas in the city that are quite happy with that deal. That's exactly how they want it. But you end up just consigning generations of Indigenous Australians into lifelong poverty because they have no access to economic resources. And so all of this must be transparent because, as I say, if there is an agenda to lock up the entire country, that should concern all Australians, but it definitely would have a huge impact on regional and rural Australians who will not have access to economic development that has occurred in the cities.
Rita.
I want to ask you about energy policy in this country. The number of people struggling to pay electricity bills has jumped 18% in a single year, according to the ACCC. Albo's blaming the coalition for it, saying that their policies and their nuclear strategy is not the way forward. What do you say to that? Because they've now recruited Matt Keane to a key role, and he's been presented as a moderate Liberal who's sensible on this issue. Well, what's your response to that?
Well, it seems to often be the easiest way to get yourself promoted into a high-paying job in the energy sector is to fail at your previous job. I mean, Matt Keane clearly failed. Well,
New South Wales.
He clearly failed as an energy minister. I mean, just after he left as energy minister, the New South Wales government had to hurriedly sign a deal to keep the Eraring coal-fired power station going because otherwise New South Wales' lights would go out. And as you say, prices went up massively. The security of our energy system is now extremely fragile. And Matt Keane has to take responsibility for that. So, I mean, I don't approach this in a partisan way. I think both the policies of Labor governments and coalition governments have been to blame here for the absolute energy mess we find ourselves in. We as a country have been installing solar and wind energy at a rate 4 times per person terms, 4 times than in North America and Europe. And this is where we've got to because we haven't been investing in reliable forms of power. Our energy systems now are very fragile, very short, and prices are going through the roof.
And Matt, up your way, $1.3 billion is being slated for a wind farm up in Rockhampton, I think it is. I mean, this is the sort of huge amounts of money that are going into renewables. Yet Labor mock the coalition's nuclear strategy for being expensive. Yet all this money is being spent on these boondoggles like wind farms and solar farms.
Yeah, well, just in the Queensland budget the other week, the Queensland government put $500 million of taxpayer money to that wind farm, just taxpayers' dollars going there. And meanwhile, I just drove back along the Bruce Highway from Brisbane yesterday, and it's in a shocking state. I've never seen it in such a poor state. It is a dangerous road. And meanwhile, the Queensland government has enough money to put $500 million to a private sector investment that is not working. That is making our energy system less reliable. And yet we have just roads that are in a shocking state of disrepair. We have a health system where you have to wait weeks to get basic things done. I know many people have had breaks their arms and legs. It takes weeks to get a cast. What is going on with our country? Our country is crumbling before our eyes, and our government puts money into 50-cent public transport fares and hundreds of millions of dollars to boondoggles from private investors. Why aren't our governments focusing on the real problems right in front of their face? I mean, you've got to expect that what they're trying to do is distract us from those real things we see in front of our face, the crime, the decay in our hospital system, our inability just to keep the lights on, and then get us to focus on saving the planet. and look over there. So don't look at the things I could fix. Let's focus on something I can't fix and will never be held responsible for.
Matt Canavan, fantastic. In 2 words, what did you think of the debate?
Oh, snooze fest, actually. Joe Biden did. He fell asleep. I don't know. I didn't find it all that riveting, to be honest. I only watched about half of it. I couldn't get through it all.
There you go. Matt Canavan, always fantastic to have you here on Outsiders.